All right, we're going to move on to consent agenda. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby takes the following action on the listed consent agenda items. A, approves payment of the bills as presented and listed in section Roman numeral 7A of the September 10, 2013 Board Agenda Packet, and B, approves minutes from the meetings held on August 12 and 13, 2013.
I'm good, thanks, man.
Open and closed as presented and amended in the September 10, 2013 Board Agenda Packet. C, approve submission of the annual application for recognition of schools 2013-2014. And D, approves the fiscal year 2014 salary compensation report for the administration.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ed Jepson.
We had some,
You have questions on the bills?
there were some questions on the bills. Also, just briefly, this is somewhat of a large consent agenda item, but most of these are annual things that the board just formally has to approve. So if there's something that somebody has a specific question on that was not submitted, they can ask it at this time as well. But I'll let Tim get into the bills first.
Tim, you want to talk about bills?
Yeah, there was a payment to CDW government. It was for some 7 workstations. These are workstations that are being purchased by the, it's a CTE vocational ed grant. And the computers have to be utilized in the applied arts department. You know, if it wasn't for the grant, then these items would have to come out of the tech budget, but
Well, the question is a repetitive one that I asked Kevin when Mike was here. Are we scrutinizing, now that we have kind of a groundwork of a 3-year technology plan, are we scrutinizing what we're buying to be heading that direction the plan's going? Because this was a $7,000 purchase. If they, you know, we got a grant or whatever, if we're going to Chromebooks, should we be buying Chromebooks?
Right, I think
That's
this is
what
for
I'm
more of
asking.
our labs, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
These machines are used for video editing.
Okay.
And at this point, there is no solution.
Like a Chromebook for that.
And again, you said we have
Right.
to do, so the
It's a good question,
time is the
Tim.
same way. We spend money every month. We spend a lot of money on computer equipment.
Sure.
So all I'm asking is that now that you've got a plan, before we buy things, we think whether that's fitting into our plan or not. So-
And we're also working through, I think, when you started, you've asked that question on a regular basis for the last 3 years we've been working together, and we now have a step in place before we purchase technology that Mike needs to sign off.
Oh, that's a good step, I think. Thank you.
Okay.
Because a lot of times we get, there might be something get ordered. and
That we have
it'll
in-house.
Show up on our doorstep, and then we didn't know anything about it. So, since that's been put in place, I haven't.
Tim, what other questions you got?
there was a question regarding national investigations. Question was whether or not the investigative services have been fully outsourced, and the answer is yes, they have. There was also a payment to a John Register. In fact, there were 2 payments, each for $1,250. One was on the board payables list, the other was on the check listing, the interest checks. Question was whether or not it was a duplication. No, one was paid in early August as a down payment for the speaker, and the other payment is at the end of the month, was at the end of the month with the board bills.
And we got a grant from the RBEF for the speaker for $3,000 for the cost of him coming to do 2 presentations, 2 breakouts, and then to pay for him to fly up. So-
I think the board just wants to make sure we don't pay somebody twice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
And there was a question regarding a payment to reimbursement to Heather Mathis for an iPad. She's a swim coach, and this was an iPad similar to the one that we bought for the boys swimming team last year, where they keep their statistics as.
Is it the teams?
It's the teams,
Or
yes.
is it
It's not her personal.
individuals, though?
It's the teams.
It's the team, it's the school, yeah.
Any other questions, Tim?
There was a question regarding some of the bills that have been going through on the flood damage, and that's still kind of a fluid kind of thing. We're still submitting things. So the budget that we have set up for the damage for the, we may end up going over budget on some of those expenditure items, But we're also gonna go over on the revenue items as we turn them into the insurance company.
I was trying to ask a different question.
Okay.
We have expenditures in July and August already for the current budget that we're gonna probably approve today. There's no line item for this at all on the budget. So my question is, should we put line items on the current budget that we're gonna approve for items that we've already incurred for the year where there's not even a line item for it yet?
Yeah,
Doesn't
we can't
matter.
add a line item for the supplies. We
Well,
have-
I'm just asking,
Yeah, I
what's
mean-
the proper
I
procedure?
thought we had a line item under our maintenance accounts that was for storm or emergency.
We have a line item for purchase services, which was like when we had the company come out and they had to do some work on
The cleanup.
cleanup work. There's also a line item for capital, when they came out and they fixed the lights at the stadium. But there wasn't a line item set up for supplies, because originally those weren't, the flood damage had to do with the purchase services and the capital items we were fixing. So,
Don't we have it under Joel's line items, don't we have, I thought we had emergency repairs? Could some of that come on out of that?
I'd rather keep this kind of money since it's specifically with the flood.
Okay.
There is a line item for supplies, we just don't have a number budgeted in there. I mean, we can create a budget number for that.
Again, I'm asking you.
Increase the revenue.
It's only $2,000, those two items that I saw, but my question is just, what's the proper methodology of doing it? If we know already, because it's 2 months of actual, should we approve a budget that's, I guess we don't adjust for actual, but where we actually have no budget at all for an item, we've already incurred costs, and we're approving that particular line item as zero. That's all I'm trying to find out. Does it matter, or is it
I mean,
okay?
I don't think it matters. In this
Okay.
case, you're gonna go over in those
Okay.
particular line item, but you're gonna go over on the revenue side too.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Not with regard to bills, no.
All right, what about minutes? Any questions on that? I know we got the updated one, Tim's changes.
Recognition, there's a summary just under consent, it's an annual process the state board requires, as well as the 2014 salary compensation report for the administration.
So any questions? Seeing none, Mary Ann, can you go for the vote, please?
Mr. Pritchett?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Jepson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.